Sooner Magic makes his first appearance in the SEC. We're going to talk about that and the Coop's situation here on the Sooner or Later Sports Show. Thank you for pulling up. That's Coop. I'm your host, Jay. Thanks for pulling up here on the YouTube channel and listening wherever podcasts are downloaded and listened to. While you're here, please wipe your feet, like, subscribe, rate, review, give us 5 stars. I don't think we deserve it. Go ahead and give us 5 anyway, and gift it. So on today's episode, we've got some excitement to talk about because we actually won a freaking game. We actually won it on the road, and we came back from a deficit we shouldn't have. We're going to talk about the goodness of the offense and the defense. But first, before we do that, Coop, go and tell the people a story because we got to hear about how you did not see the end of the game.
Yeah, so here it is. So our team woke up in the fourth quarter, but your boy he did not. So we had a birthday party for my kids, and so let's see here. So the family all leaves at halftime, and your boy had a few, did some dinner, and like everybody left. So at halftime, I lay down and I pass clean out. I mean, absolutely clean out. My wife literally comes home. She videos me sleeping on the couch. Apparently, she tried to wake me up, and man, I could not do it. I was stone cold out. So she started texting people that was in game threads with me, and I wake up, I mean, literally 10, 15 minutes after the game. And I mean, you could have convinced me anything. You could have said, hey, we just beat Alabama, Coop, we won. And I would have had no idea what had happened. And so obviously I shake it out and I go back in and I watch the game. And of course, I knew the result before I started watching. My wife was videoing me sleeping and then screenshot, the video of the TV and R. Mason making his second sack. And so, man, so I didn't get to go with didn't get to feel the ups and the downs that we all felt in this. I guess you all felt in the second half. And man, I don't know. I now have friends who are anesthesiologists who are threatening to come kick in the door and drug me in the middle of the game so that I'll pass out. I actually was threatened by Mo Dampier. We're going to bring big Mo Dampier in to knock you out so that you can't watch any more games. So there it is. So if it's a new tradition, I'm here to do my part.
Look.
And, yeah.
Twofold on that. One, yes, you did not get to experience the emotional roller coaster that we all went through from the high of the first quarter, the downs of the second, the even further downs of the third into the fourth, and then the rise. You didn't experience none of it. You wake up to a W like, hey, we got it. But hey, Matt's right. Matt is 100% correct here. Look at that picture. Coop, you got to sleep through the second half from now on. Sorry, I don't make the rules. He's 100% correct. Steven, of course, agrees. That's exactly what we're going to do. But hey, thank y'all for pulling up. We appreciate it per the norm. Yeah, Sooner Magic lives. I ain't gonna lie, man. I'm still in shock at the fact that we pulled that thing out. So I am there at the game. I'm sitting there. I'm surrounded. I'm in enemy territory. It's nothing but a whole bunch of Auburn orange around me and blue. There's a little kid sitting behind me. He's literally kicking me in my back every 35 seconds. The mom just keeps apologizing. I felt bad for her. By halftime, they were gone. The little kid was not about that life. And the funny part is she was telling me that the whole point of them bringing their son was that he wanted to see the horses. He wanted to see them Sooner ponies. He didn't care about anything else besides Sooner ponies. Nothing. I was like, wait, no. The eagle flying. He's like, no. He just kept pointing over to the horses. And when he couldn't see him, he was upset. So I'm just cracking up. He's probably like two, maybe 3-ish. I'm just cracking up. Like, yeah, in tears. But the fact that you were knocked out with your leg hiked up, just as Jason pointed out, my man, you just... Yeah. And the wife got you. Shout out to Nicole. Thank you.
Yep. Nicole definitely had it. I mean, she has video, and I may have to upload the video because it
Of her,
was.
of you snoring.
I mean, I was out like. I mean, when I say this, like, I mean, she baby cooked steak and everything. She cooked dinner while I was just passed out. So, I mean, it's not like I was like barely out. So, yeah. And I don't know. I don't know what the dog was doing. I have no clue what the dog was doing.
I know what the dog was doing. I'm gonna say I'm gonna do a solid. The dog was admiring the script writing on that corduroy hat you got. Shout out to Home
there we
Field
go.
Apparel for hooking that up. The dog was admiring the beauty of the script.
Yes,
Shout out to my
I can-
people
I-
over at Home Field Apparel. We'll get an affiliate code soon, so keep your eyes out. But anyway, let's talk ball, right? Open the first 6 minutes of Coop's escapades, because that still is hilarious to me that this dude was knocked out like that.
Mike Tyson got me.
Bruh, that bourbon got your boy down. Which I understand. That game, man, I've been drinking more if I could have. It was so if you were a part of the visitors and you season ticket holders and you got the ticket allotment and you won, the seats were literally all 22 of you. But then I realized that Auburn fans had gave up on their team already, so I hopped online to see what SeatGeek had. I ended up being like 10 rows back for like $60 a ticket. It was totally worth it. I was like, yeah, I'm moving down.
Really?
Yeah, it's totally worth it. 100% worth it. Went ahead, just moved down, and I'm just sitting up there like, I went from all 22 view to a good view of watching destruction. But we started the game off right. Cool. Michael Hawkins gets us the big 48-yard touchdown run. Let's start there. Let's start about how did you feel about the game plan and the execution? Because I'll say this quickly. I noticed and could tell that because of the injury situation we're dealing with, 5 dudes down at wide receiver, we had to go a little bit more conservative in the wide receiver room and get everybody in the groove.
Yeah.
We had some plays that looked really good. We also had some where it looked like folks were lost. That, and also, as much as I love Hawk, it looked like he missed some reads. But in the end, he did what we asked him to do. He would throw the ball.
Yeah.
And it felt good that he actually would throw it or he scrambled. Like I said, he scrambled, got the 48-yard touchdown to start the game, had us all high. Run game, we'll talk about that in a minute. But Coop, how'd you feel about the game plan overall to start?
I mean, right from the get-go, it looked like we went a little bit more towards, hey, this is what we can do, this is what we will do. I liked seeing a lot less of the wide receivers running hundreds and hundreds of yards in motion. I mean, to be honest with you, I mean, it looked like the game plan was good. I mean, we saw a lot more. We saw a different game plan. We saw definitely a Seth Luttrell game plan. And penalties killed us. I Coop, my brother and my namesake here. How many times did we see a penalty take away a big play, and it was just frustrating. And sometimes, man, it was barely and maybe even ticky tack. But I think that Hawk getting out for that big long run right from the get go, I mean, that really settled him in, and he was into the game. And I tell you what, I mean, the dude should have been. I mean, he should have been in the concussion tent 5 times. It looked like. I mean, Hawk took some drills on multiple occasions, and so we knew that. I mean, you're not going to go up against a defense this year that's going to be. I mean, you're not running up against a Texas Tech defense, with all due respect to Texas Tech. I mean, you're going to run into guys who are out to hit and out to send a message. And man, I like it. I mean, Javante Barnes, that guy ran like he was angry. Did he miss certain holes and certain cuts? I mean, yeah, he sure did. But I would rather him be moving forward and get some positive yardage. You saw Brennan Thompson take some licks too. And when it all came down to it, I mean, we did throw the ball deep a few times, and I think that there were a few more opportunities there too that we just had no time during it during the play to actually go down. But you got to start loosening guys up because you saw the inevitability of the offense just make. I mean, that's kind of how I felt before I fell asleep. That you felt like, man, we were just a few pieces off. I mean, we were on our second drive at the end of the first quarter. I mean, that was a long, grinding, both sides of the ball. They were taking time of possession. Each side was going, and they were running the clock. I mean, it was a short game for in the grand scheme of things. But
Right.
You look at it, and it looked like we wanted to run outside. We looked like we wanted to, throw some screens outside, throw some tunnel screens. And so I guess my overall arching commentary for the offense is you took a step. You took a step in the right direction.
And that was my thought too, is that it looked like we were moving forward. And that's all we've been asking for, right? Granted, the only grace that we're giving for most of this is that the offensive line has been banged up. The wide receiver room is basically we're down to the youngsters, right? We're down to the quote unquote studs of the wide receiver room. Heck, we have to bring a corner over, in which he didn't play. We'll talk about that in a minute too when we get to wide receivers. And we had a quarterback that went out there and did exactly what Jason said here a minute ago. Probably the one thing that jumped out to me the most too. He didn't throw it in trouble. He was just balling. Yeah. And Jason can't get over the fact that the kid never made a bonehead decision. Now, I don't know if I agree fully on that. I think he had a couple of bonehead ones in the pocket where he could have dumped to the running back.
Very much.
Right. And in some situation, he took 2 sacks, which actually is a lot better than I thought. I thought got sacked. I thought he was going to get sacked more than that. He ended up scrambling, but there was at least 2 or 3 times I saw where he could have dumped it to Barnes. He could have dumped it to, I think Salchuk was in at that point too. He could have dumped it to one of those two and probably picked up 6, 7, 8 yards instead of him trying to make it on his own with his feet. And I totally get him with the baller status. Totally don't even argue.
No.
But I would have wished he would have gone ahead and thrown the ball to the backs. Sometimes it's okay to check down. But overall, like you said, overarching, we moved forward. We didn't turn the ball over. Shout out to him. Even as a runner like he went out there fumbling. We did cause a fumble. I'm just sad that we didn't recover it. Because that was a dang good hit on Peyton Thorne, but we'll get on defense a little bit later. But back to the run game. You're right. Barnes ran angry. Yes. Barnes also wasn't cutting back. And that's kind of the thing that was getting me. It's like, come on, Barnes. I've seen him come up to the line, turn his eyes and cut the opposite direction. I've seen him do it so many times. I don't know what it was about this season so far. Maybe it's still him trusting himself because of coming from that foot surgery or injury or whatnot. Coop, that's the one thing I don't get. But overall, the run blocking, the passing blocking was pretty solid for the most part.
Was really good.
It was actually solid for the most part. I won't give it good yet, but I'm gonna give it solid. I mean, I respect that you would give it good. I still say solid overall, but we had pockets. Like he could sit there and throw it, and I think that's where the experience comes in. Will help him long term.
Yeah, I mean, so you're playing in the SEC, like they're going to get home. This Auburn defense, they're not bad. This is these are strong guys. These are guys who line up and brush 300, on average across the line. And then, again, when you haven't proven that you're going to use the entire field, you're going to see situations to where you're going to have a loaded box pretty often. And I got to say that, the thing I'm absolutely most excited is through 3 games, we saw no communication between the quarterback and the offensive line and the offensive linemen amongst themselves. But you saw guys pointing things out. And I said, I don't care if you tell the defensive line what exactly is happening, because you still got to block and they still got to get off that block. And there were multiple times that I saw Hawk run up on the offensive line, start pointing things out, and I saw the offensive line communicating back and forth. And so, again, it's yes, you at this point you go, we went on the road to a perceived, environment that was going to be trouble. You saw Hugh Freeze kind of go right between, kind of 50-50 with that. Like I said, I thought that he might, with self-control, just say, hey, listen, we're going to be super calculated on when we take our shots and when we don't. And these guys, this offensive line knew that they were going to be heavy in the box every single down. And so I like the communication. It was absolutely just stellar just watching the communication, because now you can take a lot of film from the offensive side, and you can go, all right, so here's where we have this, here's where we have that, here's where we have this. And it doesn't matter who Auburn is. That was the game we played this week, and we succeeded. Yeah. And whatever it is at the end of the game, if Sooners have bigger points than Auburn,
we got more points than the other teams. That's all that matters.
That's what the goal is. And so,
right.
So yeah, I love seeing that from the offense. Like you said, Jay, I think there's a lot of times, I saw a couple times where Petaway ran that, where he came back across the formation, and he ran out like to maybe draw eyes, and he had a good 11, 12 yards of cushion between him and the next guy. And I think that I'd like to see Hawk at least take one of those to let them know that that's going to happen. I saw Barnes do it a couple times. I saw Sawchuk do it. And so there was a lot. But, you go into that game, freaking depleted, depending on a freshman who gets the first start on the road in the SEC to win a game in 100 years.
Something like that. First true freshman to start their first game on the road. Everything that comes with it, right? There's so much to it, but yes.
100 years. So, if that tells you anything, that's not an easy thing to do. And so, as far as the offense goes, you continue to take steps. You hope that, now we got the bye week. You hope you continue to see some guys healthy.
Oh gosh, we needed this. We needed the breather.
This is just. I've never. When you say that we limping into the bye week, that cannot be
understated at all. Yeah, right.
So you hope the recovery team gets together and whatever needs to happen.
Look, man,
this is great.
Bubble wrap all week. Put them in bubble wrap. Tell them you got class and practice. And all we're going to do is watch film, and we're going to chill. We're going to have the massage guns going. We're going to put you in ice baths. We just going to chill. We're not going to do nothing, right? Tell your wives, tell your girlfriends, tell your significant others that you can't hang out with them this week because you need to be doing nothing but recover. I need you to go to bed early. You need to wake up, get your 10 hours of sleep, do everything possible to let your bodies heal, man. We just need it. But anyway, we're starting to see Emmett Jones and why we always have been trying to give him raises, right? He keeps bringing in talent. Now we need this talent to start showing up. And Coop, I know a few people disagree with me. My guy John over at Locked On Sooners will talk about that later on. You'll see that episode tomorrow. Me and him's going to talk about it too. But he was in 100% disagreement with me on this. Coop actually was not. Coop was like, okay, we'll see if it happens. All I've been saying is give J.J. Hester another chance. What did we get out of this chance that I asked for J.J. Hester, guys? We got 3 catches for 86 yards. And that big, beautiful 60-yarder. Because the beautiful part about that 60-yarder was the ball flew for like 56 of it, right? And Hester, and it was in stride. It was against Auburn's best corner. He literally was just like, boosh, 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 waka. And then, hold a second. You look underneath this. Hold up. I got to make sure there ain't no microphones around here. his knee was down. We got lucky on that one. He grazed grass, and he just couldn't figure out how to call it off. Like, that's the craziest part. So we got blessed. Sooner Magic kicked in. As somebody mentioned in here, all we've been hearing was about Jordan Her, or whatever it's called, and how cursed the place is. And the beautiful part is what? Sooner Magic prevailed. Coop.
Yeah, with the dub.
Hester, Brennan. Bauer Sharp had a very nice one that was negated because Jake Roberts did not want to actually run a route. I'm a little perturbed by that, I'm going to be honest.
I mean, you see so many of these, and there are a lot worse calls. I think that just where it was called, it happened right in front of him. And, I mean, let's be honest. Maybe it was like, hey, there's got to be a reason why this big explosive play just happened for the Sooners on offense. So maybe we should look into this a little bit harder. But, no, I mean, you got to sell that a little bit more. You got to act like you're running your route. You can't, break down. And I think that was the biggest part is Jake Roberts broke down right in front of the defensive back. And so, yeah, I mean, there was another play a little bit later in the game also where Hawks scrambled out to the right and then found Sharp. And so, I mean, Bauer Sharp should have had himself 100+ receiving yards.
Yeah, he really should have.
And so, I mean, yeah, listen. If you ain't going to block a damn thing, you might as well get out there and catch some routes because.
Hey, shockingly, this is his best job of blocking this week too. That was his best one this season.
Exactly.
Shout out to Bauer Sharp.
Get better. You got to continue to get better. That's the thing about it is with this offense, and when you're this young, you've got to take steps, and it's going to be baby steps. And here's the thing, Jay, is I don't want to get right into the defense right yet, but this offense had to do something at this point. Because your defense is not going to show out and give you an A+ performance every single day. It's not going to happen. And everybody's like, man, maybe this defense isn't that good. You walked into a road game, your first SEC road game, and you allowed 21 points. You had goal line stands. You had a pick six. Like, guys, the defense was not given any help by the offense for 3 quarters. And so the offense, again, this is where the difference in not turning the ball over really made a huge difference because I don't think the defense had it this weekend to be able to sit out there and, to absorb, a turnover here, a turnover there. Like, they did their job to the best of their ability on the road against some game time guys. I mean, Auburn's offense isn't bad. Auburn's offense has a turnover issue.
Yeah.
And if you guys don't forget this, is early in the game, there were multiple times where I think that Kobe McKenzie had a pick hit him right in the chest. There was, I think one of the first drive, either the first drive or the second drive for Auburn's offense. I think Des Malone dove for an interception and barely missed it, or maybe it was Kobe.
No, it was Des. They caught the ball. He should have, if he would have not slipped, I think he would have got the pick.
So there were opportunities early for turnovers, but when it all comes down to it is this offense, by not turning the ball over, you 100% allowed your defense some grace. And that was big. And so, again, it's baby steps. How do you take the step into this next week? Do you go back in? Do you watch film? Do you do some walkthroughs? And, hopefully Taylor Tatum gets back with the concussion situation. We know Deion Burks, it was mentioned as a soft tissue injury. The whispers out there that it is a deep thigh bruise. So right now I'm hearing 50-50 for Texas. And you got to think that if you are capable of playing, you watch that and you go, all right, I'm in. I'm in with this.
Exactly. And that's the thing. We're hoping that Burks comes back. That gets you another weapon. That gets you somebody that knows how to open up plays for others, right? Like you said, Petaway did a great job of it. I think the critique, if I was to give any in this game, and the things I would like to see Hawkins do better with, and you pointed this out earlier, which is perfect. I want him to start hitting some of those deep curls because they were open,
Yeah.
right? I saw some keep deep curls, some outs. Basically what Auburn was doing to us, do that to everyone else. Hit them on some of the short stuff, get some check downs, and then when they start coming up, you got a 6'4" dude that runs a 4.4 40 that you realize, oh, if I launch that thing, he gonna catch it. He ran right underneath it beautiful. It was the perfect dime just right in the bucket. And it was over the shoulder, so J.J. Hester didn't. It was like the touchdown he dropped. He missed first game of the year. He literally just came just like this, boom, wow, and he brought it in, and he knew he was about to get tackled. He tucked that bad boy and first down. Could have been a touchdown, but that was Auburn's best corner, so I knew that he would recover, but he couldn't keep up with Hester at all. That was the beauty of it. And so, yeah, no, you're spot on. We've got some things to work on and fix, and we'll get there. I'm not even mad. I don't, I know that this team is doing what they need to do to get better week over week. And as you said, Coop, the best thing that has been said today is we just need you to keep moving forward. Better, better, never best. And we did that. Thank y'all for pulling up. Hit that like button. If you're new to the channel, subscribe, rate, review, give us the 5. Wipe your feet, Coop. Coop. It's probably the worst game by the defense. But they showed up in the second half. Just the way we did. Thorne did not get up very many numbers in the second half like he did first. Shout out to Gus Malzahn. I'm gonna say this. I'm sorry, not Gus. To Hugh Freeze, because Hugh Freeze does a really good job of doing the misdirection. I forgot Gus doesn't work there anymore. Gus is at UCF. They played Colorado this week, which was actually a pretty good game. I'm actually surprised that they screwed up the opportunity to beat them, but I digress. Hugh Freeze does a really good job of picking apart defenses. That's the one thing he's known for, his offense, the way he can do that. Hence why he was hired at Auburn was because he beat Saban while at Ole Miss by specifically doing that, picking apart the Saban defense. The best part for us in that game was the second half. They weren't that good. Now they got that deep touchdown to put them up 21-10, and that's on us. We are very susceptible to the deep ball. Very. And it's not the secondary's bad. It's that I've noticed that we're very aggressive. And sometimes our corners are a little too confident when going against really fast wide receivers. I don't have an issue with the way that we do that, but if we're going to be that confident, quote unquote cocky, we need to be stopping them short routes that's coming in front of us. Why are we not picking off those and taking those to the house? We know they're coming. Teams are prepared for us on that. We should be able to run up and immediately snatch that thing and run it back. Should be there. But overall, we didn't give up a 100-yard rusher. We didn't give up a 100-yard receiver. They spread the ball around, and they had to. And that's what Hugh Freeze does. Coop, when you saw the defense, we'll get into the good stuff at the end. We got to talk about, we're going to do the hamburger. We've already got good. We're going to get some of this bad in the middle. We'll close it with some good. What did you see in the defense, man? What you want to see needs to improve?
So what happens is when you are aggressive with our safeties are aggressive. Robert Spears Jennings and Billy Bowman are they're playmakers. They love coming up. They love thumping guys on the run. They love supporting the run. And the first touchdown, I think Robert Spears Jennings, he got way too far up. And Billy was, from what I'm understanding and from what it looked like on the sideline, is Billy had the run support at that point, and they had been running a little bit of the counter, and I think Robert Spears Jennings saw the formation, and so he came up, and I think that whether it's Dez or Kai. You absolutely have to understand that you can't get beat deep, and so on the first touchdown, they absolutely that's what it is. Is he expected somebody back there? I don't think a safety is going to save that touchdown. I think that he may cause some footsteps, but all in all, you're not gonna prevent that touchdown. And so that was the first one. Woody Washington continues to play too far off the receiver. He doesn't fight through traffic the way he's supposed to. And I think on multiple times I saw Woody Washington, which I don't think that we saw Woody in the second half. I think that Eli Bowen came in and relieved Woody of his duties. And Woody gave up a couple of big plays, and he was actually pretty toasted on another one that there was miscommunication between the wide receiver and Peyton Thorne. So I think that's the case. Is if you are going to be in a spot to where you know that the safeties in it, and one of the first touchdown I believe was on first down. You got to understand that the safeties are aggressive, and you can't give it up deep, and so you got to get back out there and you got to run. So, man, I just I said it before the year started. I didn't think Woody Washington had a place on this team anymore. I think that he was pressed into duty with Gentry being hurt, and now with Jacoby moving over on the offensive side of the ball, I'm really, really excited to see Eli Bowen. You saw more Eli, you saw more Peyton, you saw Omasigo playing some good ball. You saw Boganowski in there quite a bit too, at the cheetah spot. And so, I just think that, I appreciate everything Woody's done. And, but when he's running, across the field and he's tracking down a receiver, I think that he needs to grind a little bit more, and he needs to strain more. He needs to stay in the hip. And I would rather Woody get his pass interference calls rather than, giving a guy 8 yards cushion across the field. So those are the things that I saw right there. I think Stutzman had himself a little bit of a tough game.
Yeah, he wasn't as active as I'm used to. Real quick, Tanya, thank you so much for the 5. You always pull up and send a 5 in. We appreciate that love.
Love you, Tanya.
And support. Thank you so much. On that, so there was a question that popped up in here that I wanted to make sure I address while we talk about it from Jonathan. Thank you from that. Was Danny injured? Why was he wearing the neck roll? I think it was an aesthetic thing. I think he was just trying to get locked in. It was more so aesthetically pleasing for him at the moment to ride through and do that. Trying to look good. And I was hoping that he, give us a little bit more. He didn't have a bad game. He just didn't have a Danny Stutzman game. They schemed away from him because if I'm correct,
they did.
He only had 4 tackles, 1 solo, and half a tackle. He was part of a tackle for loss, which we had 8 in that game. They only had 4, which is fantastic. They did a good job of scheming away from Danny. They didn't want Danny to be a part of plays. They went across the middle quickly. They ran the ball the opposite away from him. And this is what Gabe was saying with the Oklahoma breakdown, is that's what Hugh Freeze does. He likes to get your eyes. He focuses on your eye discipline. He's going to misdirect you. He's going to run the linemen like they're running a GT counter, and he's going to go with a jet sweep the opposite direction, right? He's going to keep doing that kind of stuff. That's how he gashes defenses. He makes you think you're going to do one thing, and he goes with another. It works when you have the personnel to keep it consistently. But while I was sitting there, Auburn fans looked at me and said, oh, I think it was the Javante Barnes to actually the Hester catch. The guy next to me looked at me, and he said with a straight face, y'all about to win this game. I'm like, nah, man. This is we ain't got that lot of time left. If y'all just run the ball, he's like, nah, man. I've seen this movie before. Y'all gonna win this game. I'm like, are you serious? Like, for real? He's like, yeah, man. Y'all about to win this. Look at the decision. We're passing the ball and we're stopping the clock. What are we doing? I'm like, fair point. Neo, thank you. Yeah, I'm definitely I did remind Ty. I told Ty that Sooner Magic always outdoes the curses at Jordan Hare. That seems to be only certain teams that it works against.
Hey, Ty picked Oklahoma too. Boy Steve,
yeah.
That he was dead wrong. But I mean, when it all comes down to it, I mean, I don't know who was right or wrong in that. With pregame picks, but no, right. With Stutzman also, like, there's a lot of time that Stutzman. I mean, he did miss a few tackles, but there's a lot of times that Stutzman is supposed to go plug a gap and send everything a different way, a cutback. And I promise you this, is I saw at least 3 times in my rewatch that Stutzman came up into a gap and the running back or somebody else popped outside and got cleaned up. And so, I mean, there's, Stutzman, yeah, again, I think during the Tennessee game, I had somebody behind me who was yelling, Stutzman's got to be hurt or something because he's just not doing anything. But I think that teams are now willing to try out Kobe McKenzie or Kip Lewis or Lewis Carter when Stutzman's out there. And Danny and he's playing gap. That's the one thing that's a growth in his game is he's playing gap sound defense, and he is staying in his lane, and he is not over pursuing, because that's usually where we get gashed, is when he gets away with it once or twice, and then they get him on the third time, and it's a 25-yard run. So you got to say that, when you're not super effective statistically, to stay disciplined. So I give Danny a shout out for doing the right thing and staying in his responsibility.
Yeah, Sean, I agree with you here too, right? I'm happy with the corners. They were mostly playing guys really tight and got beat by the perfect ball, and I can live with that. That's a very fair assessment. That was what we did see in a lot of situations. If the ball was thrown in the perfect spot, they were able to catch it over the shoulder and boom, and they're right there. To me, the bigger thing was I was hoping that we would have done a much better job of swatting at the ball, because we knew that they were going to throw some good ones, right? Peyton Thorne, for all of his issues, throws a good ball when he's not throwing it to the other team. Actually, he throws a really good ball to the other team as well. As we go on into the good stuff that happened in this game, right? Before I talk about the Kip 6, thank y'all for pulling up. Hit the like button, new to the channel, subscribe, rate, review. Give us 5 if you're listening, wherever podcasts are downloaded and listened to. Hey, man. I don't know what pep talk they be giving to R. Mason Thomas and at the end of the third quarter. They need to give him that same pep talk in the first. But there was something else I did notice. Coop, as the game was winding down and we was getting to like the closing portion of the game, did you notice who the edges was playing out there most of the time? PJ and R. Mason. And PJ was getting in there. Like, it was just being super disruptive, and that to me was like, we are getting where we need to. And by the way, Woody did play a little bit in the third and fourth. He rotated in here and there. I think it was mainly run plays that they expected that they threw him back out there for, which I probably can live with too, but I digress. Coop.
Hey, listen. R. Mason looks like the dog from Deadpool.
Yes.
And I mean, let's not go there. Like, he still is blowing stuff up, and he is still pressuring the hell, but he is relentless. He is the Thanos, like, I'm inevitable. Like, he is going to eventually get home. And, early in the game, why he's successful at the end of the game is conditioning and consistency. And you are not going to keep him away. Absolutely, you can't do it all game long. And so I mean, that's the one thing I'll say about R. Mason is, I mean, that everybody's like talks about how he looks like a pug during first quarter, second quarter, third quarter, and looks like a werewolf in the fourth quarter. But it's just the inevitability that eventually.
The law firm of R. Mason and Thomas showed up when we needed him to show up. Shout out to him, man. Look, and you're right, Coop. And that leads perfectly into the Kip 6, right? So some people were wondering because first off, as I was stating, I was sitting there and the Auburn fans were telling me, no, we're going to give it to you. Don't worry. Our quarterback likes giving other teams the ball. So I'm just cracking up at that. That's literally all they kept saying. No, he likes giving the ball away. We got the fumble. We caused the fumble, and then they landed on it, which was kind of upsetting that they ended up getting the first down because of it, but whatevs. But what was funny was, so in that Kip 6, that play was by design. They baited Peyton Thorne to throw that slant, right? You could tell because we pushed everybody up to make it look like we were going to blitz. And by doing that, we created fake pressure like artificial pressure, as they would say, on that outside, on that, I think it was on that right tackle. So when R. Mason was running at the quarterback, he felt the pressure, but he thought he was getting that pressure because we were blitzing. So, of course, the first look is, boom, you get rid of the ball because there's an edge about to hit you, and that's the play. You could tell that they had synced that before in these situations and was ready for it, because as soon as they hiked, Kip and them drop back. Kip stumbles, jumps, gets that bad boy, tips it, takes it to the crib.
He almost lost his ass, and that's
almost lost it.
That's one of the best pieces because I think they delayed so much on that whole entire play that he came in, he came out, he came back in, then he bailed out, and you gotta give it up. For a linebacker to catch a pretty solid pass after stumbling, maybe Kip needs to play a little wide receiver. You know what I'm saying? You just put him out there for as a tight end, but no, let's not do that. Actually, let's keep him right where he's at. But you had the kick six, now you got the Kip six. If you're an Auburn fan,
you got the Kip six, right? And that you had the kick six and the Kip six, and it was perfect that they did that play design that late in preparation, right? You could see that Alley started to turn it up. So like Caden Woolard was getting hella pressure. Right, like I know that PFF was showing him some love. He was when he got in there. Yeah, he batted the ball down, got the tackle, he got an assist. He was getting a hurry. He was out there.
He almost had a sack on two different occasions, and I don't know if Jay's in here tonight, but I was texting Jay back, his dad, back and forth, and he's like, it's close, it's so close, it's so close. There were multiple times that Caden was in there. Caden was very disruptive tonight.
Yep, and there was one thing I noticed too about the way that we tackle. I tweeted it out too, and I guess someone mentioned it about the way Trace Ford. I guess Teddy and them talked about it in the Weeds video. I missed the one that Tennessee when they went through. I need to go watch it. But the one thing I had noticed about the way that we're tackling is that everything we swipe down when we wrap, right? It's all a swipe down wrap. It's not like a grab or do anything like that. It's a down grab every time we try to tackle, which is what leads to those fumbles, right? And the ball's getting slapped straight down, potential for I was impressed with that. Then you had Zach Alley turn up the pressure on that safety blitz by Robert Spears-Jennings. And then, of course, the crazy part about R. Mason Thomas's the second sack he got, the one where he basically Perrion Winfrey'd the kid. We had a 3-3-5 going, and we only rushed 3 people. Like, their offensive line basically quit on that play.
Yeah, both G-Baby is the other party in that backfield.
Yep.
And it's what pushed him back on because R. Mason went past Thorne and G-Baby pushed him back up, and that's when he lit into him. If you're Peyton Thorne, I'm just saying, like, looking at his face multiple times, after anything he did incorrect, he deserves to get hit a few times because that guy's body language was not beautiful. That's what really bothers me is when your body language is not out there. And so, man, I'm just I was really, really excited. You also had Trace Ford. Trace Ford just continues to be a presence when he comes in. He does things they're absolutely terrific. He's asked to coverage the running back. Jaquez Hunter, that is a dude. He was the leading returning rusher in the SEC. And, it's one of those situations where you wonder, why Hugh Freeze didn't feed him more because I think you need to feed that guy. That guy needs to carry the ball 35 times. And if you can carry the ball 35 times with him, you put yourself in a very, very good position.
Right. He got 17 carries in the game. Thorne got 17. Damari Alston got 7 carries. Sam Jackson, the 5th guy. I guess I don't know whose kid that is, but he got 2 carries. But yeah, they only gave him the ball 17 times, and we made Thorne run the ball 17 times, and he had like 1.4 yards per carry for Thorne, but Hunter averaged 5.7. We didn't give up 100 yards to him, but like you said, and that's literally what the Auburn fans told me while I was sitting there talking to them. They were like, hey, because I'm looking at this, I'm like, why is Hugh Freeze letting Thorne throw this ball? He's like, this is why we lose games like this. This is why we're going to lose this game. And the one group of them, as soon as we scored a touchdown, they're like, all right, I'm out. Y'all going to win this game. I'm like, y'all for real? He's like, yeah, I'm gone. This
The
play
dude,
calling is obviously gonna backfire, and that's what it is.
he was averaging 7 some odd yards a carry coming into this game.
He did.
And
We got
I
him
mean,
under.
you got to think that. I mean, I don't know what that's like. I mean, Javonte, felt like he ran all over the place and he averaged 3.4. But if your dude's averaging 7 yards a carry, you got to feed that dude the rock, and that's that. I mean, that's what you got to do. So, but yeah, man, I just this is one of those games where you did not have your best, but you definitely gave yourself a chance to win. And man, it's those wide receivers. I mean, Condre Lambert-Smith and Cam Coleman. Cam Coleman's going to be a problem in the SEC.
Yeah, he's going to be a problem long term, dog. He's going to be a problem long term.
I mean, he is hurt. But I mean, that guy shows some grit. He shows some toughness. I mean, he was the number 1 wide receiver for a reason. Lambert-Smith was another one. Malcolm Simmons is another freshman. They got some weapons, and bless the Auburn fans. I mean, if any of you kids are in here right now, like, I just say this is, I mean, you guys deserve better. I mean, that's frustrating as hell to. I mean, we kind of know what you feel like. Given just turning the ball over left and right, and just not being able to get out of your own way. But man, I just got to give it up to I'm hearing that the Auburn fans were terrific. I saw clips of them fighting each other in the end of the fourth quarter.
A tradition as old as the game itself. Yes.
And so, I mean, I've been to a lot of OU fans, and I've heard some yelling, but I've never seen a fight at an OU game between our fans. But I mean, it's that's a team that continues to struggle, and it just looks like they find a way to lose, and just find a way to give it up at the wrong opportunity, way too often.
Exactly. Eric asks, where was Thomas the first 3 quarters? Hey, he was out there he was making waves. He just wasn't getting there like we needed him to as early as we'd have liked. But hey, man, I don't know what it is second half. Fourth quarters, he like closing games. He just needs to be the closer. Just make the law firm the closer and call it a day. So defense did what we needed. We're excited about that. That was a great way of closing that game out. We were able to get out of Jordaner with the dub. Jordaner, whatever they call it. Auburn fans, y'all are good. We appreciate that. Let's get some of these questions real quick. Jonathan asks, have you injuries? We want to talk about injuries, of course, because that's what everybody's curious about. Do you know what OU Insider was referring to last week in their live stream regarding medical issues with the medical staff? I don't. I'll just be honest with you. No clue. And I'm going to stay out of that because
I'll speak on this.
Well,
I'll speak on this, Jay, and this is where the guys at Sooner Scoop, OU Insider, ourselves, when you make statements that aren't confirmed by the coaching staff, that can get you in under a bad microscope. And so we'll just say this is like there's a lot of conversation going around. Because people want answers. People need answers. And, we've had a lot of guys who have gotten hurt and people who are not coming back. And, I think that there is a gentle blend of hope and reality that sometimes don't line up. And so I will say this is, I think there's a lot of conversation going on between the coaching staff, the training staff. There's a lot of different opinions on who should be out there, who should not be out there. And we'll let the coaching staff just continue to do that because that's what they get paid the millions for. And we're not part of that earning system. So,
I'll say this though. Jake Taylor played the whole game.
He did. And guess who also we saw at the end of the game? We saw Makari Vickers. Vickers' first game time this season, and so that's good because he's another body that we need to see here sometime soon.
Yeah. He's a corner.
He has struggled with injury, I think the entire offseason, and so I'm pretty happy because he was there on the Hail Mary. He was out there, and I think he played some special teams. I know we got Isaiah Autry back, which only adds some more depth. We also got Reggie Powers
Beautiful.
was in the boot for a few weeks, and now he's back out there.
Yep.
And so, yeah, I mean, you gotta have that. I mean, you got a lot. I mean, this is great. I mean, for the bye week, we have never needed a bye week so badly. Just because, think of what this week feels like. This next 2 weeks feels like. Jay, I'm so sorry, Jay. Texas freaking sucks. By the way, it is that time. So Bevo, to hell
Texas
with
hate
you
week.
and your entire team. We get 2 weeks of hate, and I know that you're going to bring it too. But now it is time to go, and so yeah, we're going to rest up and hopefully get some bodies back because I mean you saw the the injury report. Man, it was people. I mean, people, there was compassion from other fan bases. Like, what in the hell is going on there? And they brought up the the wide receiver being without the first 5 wide receivers. Your top 5 wide receivers, and so, man, it's you got to hope that we get something back next week. And
Right.
I'm tired of seeing guys that we know are out for the season on the injury report because it just adds more hurt to the
Yeah, it's more pain. It's all you feel is pain.
Like, I mean, putting Jason White on the out, just like we know that he ain't coming back. So come on, let's
It's like, guys,
put
we know
Jaden Gibson in there.
you have no reason to tell me this. I know. We already know the pain. We're feeling the pain, right? We get it. We're totally there. But no, other Coop asked the question, Jay, how bad is the Deion Burks injury? I know that this Coop here knows it's it's a thigh bruise or something. I remember seeing the play when he got hit, and he looked like he was like in pain. He limped off. I think he came back in for a little bit, but yeah, he's tender. So it's gonna be. We're gonna go through this bye week and pray that he feels better or feel better enough and wants to play against Texas. Honestly, I think he probably wants to play against Texas just because he wants to be a part of the experience. So we'll see. Coop.
Yeah, I mean, again, you get hit into a high pressure muscle that literally you can do nothing without. I mean, just nothing without your quad. And so I hear that there's a couple different guys with quad issues, at the receiver position, and so it's just you got to hope that again he did not travel with the team. There was good reason. I got word before that thing launched out that he wasn't even going to travel with the team, so that looked good. To maybe keep him home and keep that going. But yeah, like I said, you're going to have, I mean, the OU Texas game, that's the greatest thing about this game is, there have been plenty of times where OU should have just walked over Texas or Texas should have walked over OU, and it's a great game. And that's part of the experience of just doing that. And, I know that, Texas is going to be, kind of dealing with their situation at quarterback too. You got 2 guys who are hopefully going to be available. And who do you trot out there? Does Texas trot out a Quinn Ewers? And I know we'll get into that probably next week a little bit more. But
heavy next week.
Yeah, who do you run out there at quarterback? I mean, so you guys in the chat, you Texas guys, like
yeah. Our boy Truth asked the question. I need a teaser for next game. He already know my pick. He knows I pick. But which QB would you like to play from Texas? Man, I don't care. But I'm gonna tell you this, still Truth. I'm gonna have to disappoint you today. You ain't getting it today. You don't get the teaser until midweek. We'll give you something on Wednesday night show.
Not Malik Murphy.
I would like to see Malik. I actually asked the one I didn't want to see after he just didn't he mount to come back again. We got to talk about that in a bit. But no, no. You do not get that from me. And I told you, that's why I said that to you in the message. Have you not met fans for other teams? They all wild, bro. Fans are fans, man. That's all I know. And that's the best part about college football and NFL football, sports in general. Fans is be wildin'. But we have a good time doing it. Formerly known as Joe MC Part 2. Who's going to be back for Texas? Any of the injured wide receivers? I'm gonna keep it a buck, man. Don't expect any of them, but potentially Burks next week, right? I say Burks is probably the one you'll get at the probable. I don't think anybody else is coming back until after Texas. It's just too early. It's just what it is,
Yeah.
man. But we'll find out this week. BV will have his presser tomorrow. He'll talk about it there and next week's presser. But yeah, I don't expect
I would like to think that you're probably going to get a lot of probables midweek if they
like
do
all
anything.
probables.
Everybody's probable, and then you're gonna have some doubtfuls, and then you're gonna have some outs by Wednesday of next week. So, yeah, I mean, you're gonna probably see. I mean, like I said, you're hoping for Deion Burks, but I don't expect anybody else.
Me either. This is interesting. When Blaine Child, where do you think Jackson Arnold goes? What are the chances he lands at Oklahoma State? That's hilarious. I don't know.
He's not old enough to play at Oklahoma State.
Yeah, that's one. He is not old enough. That would be way too young because we ain't seen Oklahoma State actually have a quarterback out there that was like, an actual undergrad in a while. But I'll say this, though. I'm a little bit in the minority. I could totally see Jackson Arnold sticking around. I don't know why, but I could totally see it. Just feels like a personality thing. We'll go with that. His dream was playing quarterback at Oklahoma. I wouldn't doubt it. Now, I know a lot of people will miss in Mississippi State. They got Michael Van Buren. And I don't know if y'all know that. He been playing the last couple games. He ain't going nowhere. Van Buren's true. We tried to get Van Buren here. Remember that. He was the second quarterback that we were initially going after.
After Hawkins.
But he ended up there, and we got Zerbrug, which I like Zerbrug a lot. I think he's a capable quarterback. We'll see what he looks like as far as actually playing, but Michael Hawkins is your dude right now. So, to be honest, I really could see Jackson Arnold not going nowhere, Coop.
With Michael Hawkins, he does not play like there's a plan for tomorrow. He plays like he is going for this play and that's it. And so, if the continuation needs to definitely be like, you gotta absolutely just tell Jackson. I mean, you're one play away from being the starting quarterback again, and so you got to keep him engaged. And again, if he is somebody who is going to be desired by other coaching staffs, that's what he's going to have to do. He's going to have to show that he cares. It was kind of a mixed emotions for me when every time they showed him on the telecast. They probably showed Jackson on the sideline 15 times, and every single time he was engaged. He had his helmet on. He was paying attention to stuff. And so, man, that's just the one thing that I hope for him is that he continues just to stay engaged because, this was his plan for a while. I mean, the entire program was centered around him, and so hopefully, he takes that to heart.
So, last one here from my guy Mike. He asks, where do you rank Nico in the SEC quarterbacks? It's a tough one. It's a battle right now, man. I mean, I just watched what Jalen Milroe just did.
I mean, here's what I think is, I mean, no matter what anybody wants to say, you have to understand that Josh Heupel played the game at the end of that game to not see what happened this weekend at Auburn. It was, we are not going to put the ball in harm's way. We are not going to let this defense make a play to bring this team back into this game. And Nico's got the ceiling. I mean, his ceiling is the best quarterback in the SEC. That's his ceiling. As of right now, I still think that, I really do think that like he needs a couple of playmakers, a wide receiver, and that's going to pretty much take him where he's going. But you throw him up there with Milroe. Beck looked like two different quarterbacks this weekend. He looked lost early, and then he looked like he could not be stopped late. So he's in the top four. That's for sure.
He's easily top four. I think he's still young. Still think there's a lot that needs to be worked out for him. I think Milroe's the best quarterback in the conference, personally. But there's a lot of work for Nico to clean up just in his overall. But he's young, so I do think he's at least top 5 in the conference. I just don't know where in the top 5 right now. But kid's a baller. He is a baller. There. Let's talk around some games around the country real quick before we wrap up. Get y'all out of here. Get a little extra entertainment because next week we just gonna talk about all the SEC games. We ain't gonna talk about anything else besides preparing ourselves. You see that upset, Coop? Oh yeah, real quick. Shout out to the field goals. Schmidt redeemed himself, bro.
No. Shout out to the special teams. I kid you not. Elzinga needs to. I mean, he right now is the MVP of this team, and he is the absolute MVP of this team right now.
He's helping the defense so much.
I mean, like you go. That guy is just. I mean, he's nails. But yeah, for Zach Schmidt to be completely tossed to the side. I mean, if you're this coaching staff, you need to turn around. You need to look at Jackson and be like, look at what Zach Schmidt just did. Because the difference in that game was, what was that damn kicker's name? That was the worst name for a kicker I've ever heard. Their freshman guy.
Dicker the kicker?
Mr. Magoo or whatever. What is his
McGaw.
name?
Tyler McGaw.
No, it was like.
It's McGaw. McGough. Tyler McGaw.
They kept on saying Magoo on the on the broadcast.
It was McGaw. It's so bad.
But yeah,
I felt so bad for the kid, dog.
Listen, dude was
Towns McGaw. I thought it was Tyler.
Magoo.
Towns.
No,
let's call him Towns Magoo.
So, dude literally sounds like a cartoon character from Bugs Bunny cartoons. But I mean, that's the difference in the game. Is you bring up a backup kicker, and he hits 2 for Oklahoma. If I would have said that Zach Schmidt's going to be icing the game in Auburn, on a comeback win, I mean, people would have hung me for a lunatic. And but man, Zach Schmidt, Elzinga, the punt coverage team, since week 2, where it looks like we could not accurately catch a punt, it's been really, really it's been nails. Even Peyton got drilled after throwing up a fair catch at one point, and who picked him up off the turf? His brother. Eli was the first one in there picking him up. So, I mean, shout out to the special teams because, yeah, I mean, listen, I think we made a good hire there.
We did. They did a fantastic job. Shout out to Doug Deacon, good old. I guess he's the special teams coach now, coordinator or whatever. I mean,
Dougie Fresh.
Dougie Fresh, we'll call him that. But around the country, Ole Miss gets shocked by Kentucky, bruh. Kentucky
ground
finally closed.
Yeah. Kentucky ground that game into a dadgum halt. And that's where I'm going to go ahead and blame my passing out is on Kentucky watching that game, going in, because that was 1970s Pittsburgh Steelers type of football where you are just sitting there, just grinding. And so, I mean, that was a great game. I mean, you forced Jackson Dart into very, very pressure-like situations and decisions, and he is going to Jackson Dart you. I mean, he is going to make a mistake at some point, and they, shout out to Mark Stoops. He had a game plan. They did the same thing to Georgia, last week. And they could not close that one out, but that's a huge win. And again, don't sit here and say, all right, now we're going to march into to Mississippi and just take them down, because it's a different week and a different game plan and a different everything. But they definitely had a blueprint, and we're probably going to see that quite a bit. For everybody facing up against Ole Miss going into this is grind it to a halt and see if you can force Jackson Dart to make decisions. But that defense on Ole Miss, they were gassed. I mean, it was like the Tennessee game with us, Jay. It was like 2/3 of the game their defense was out there. Yeah,
that's whew. Shout out to them. Midland Sooner. We actually met Midland while we were going to, what game did we go to? Was that
That
it
was
was a
Temple.
hot game? Temple. It was Temple. It was hot. Good to meet you. Thank you for the 5. We appreciate it. They had a question. Let us
I did
know.
not, did
Put
not
that in
fall
chat.
asleep in that game.
He did not. He was actually wide awake. Then you had the thriller to end the night with Alabama and Georgia. Boy. That was a game. I ended up going to sleep on it because I had to be up at 4 to get to the airport. Even though Montgomery's airport's super small, I had to be at the airport by I think my flight was at 7. Yeah, our flight was at 7. So I tried to get up by 5 and some change. And I watched most of it. I saw the Ryan Williams catch because I saw the highlight. And I was like, what the hell? Dude, 17. As we all heard literally on every single broadcast and throughout social media all night long that he's 17. Yes, we know he's 17. Dude is stupid good to be 17 years old, Coop.
Hey, I'm just saying that one play, I mean, he is good. He is a very, very good receiver. But that one play, it looked like somebody was doing some Harry Potter magic on those defensive backs because, I mean, they just literally that was some of them. I mean, those guys were tired, and that was crazy. I mean, he should have been tackled 4 times. But yeah, I mean, you got to give it to Georgia. Georgia went out and, I mean, they threw up 19 in the fourth quarter, and I mean, they made it an absolute game. And Alabama's defense, they wrecked shop early in the night, and then they started getting gassed in that third and fourth quarter. And Georgia made, I mean, that was an ass whooping at halftime. I mean, it was ugly.
That should have been done, and Bama somehow let them come back. That was woo. They were cooking them boys all the way through. And in the fourth quarter, Georgia decided to turn that thing on. I guess the Bama defense got gassed and just decided to, give up a lot of points. But man, but Jalen Milroe was out there cooking them, both sides of the ball, running, passing. He was everywhere, and it was tough.
Dynamic.
He was dynamic. Kalen DeBoer is doing a great job working with him. Not looking forward to seeing him. Arkansas ruined the opportunity to take out Texas A&M at the crib. Guess Elko's righting his ship. Marcel Reed is maybe pretty good.
He is. Right? He is the unscripted quarterback that is hard to game plan for because that guy just continues to. I mean, he just continues to cook, and he makes plays that he shouldn't. Yep. He makes the difficult look easy, and he has some of the intermediate stuff he has trouble with. But yeah, I mean, he is absolutely. I mean, I don't know if you're Wegman, you might be scanning the transfer portal too.
Yeah, goodness. He's the quarterback there from now on. If Elko's smart, you leave him out there. You don't take him out, right? Period.
No, you got to ride the hot hand.
Exactly. You don't. Yeah, you ride that hand. Dude is balling. Then of course the Texas people in here. Texas beats Mississippi State. I mean, that game was a lot closer than I thought it was going to be. I'm gonna be honest. Did not think that this game would have been a 14-6 game at halftime. A lot closer than I thought it was going to be. Texas playing with their food, but makes sense.
Again,
it's Mississippi State.
Why not? Mississippi State. You just run out there. It's you got to. Texas had issue 2 interceptions last week, 2 fumbles this week. It's. We'll see. We got 2 weeks to start building this game up on both sides. Right. This is OU Texas. Like I said earlier, it don't
matter who
that stuff
is.
Don't matter. Like it's just one of those weird games. But yeah, I mean, it's you continue. Listen, our Arch Manning has not disappointed. He's shown out. He's looked good.
Yeah, he's putting his numbers up.
And so he's getting him out there. I think he had over 300 yards passing again this week. And so, yeah, I mean, it's yeah. I mean, like I said, Jason said it right. It's you actually have a team with a pulse on defense coming up. I mean, you guys, Texas took it to Michigan, and now Michigan has decided that you know what, screw this throwing thing. Let's just run the ball. And
the thing they should have done from the beginning. Yes, that is very true. Literally their entire offense.
Another game that Arizona, Utah. Arizona.
I don't even want to talk about it. I'm tired of Arizona hurting me. I'm good. I don't even want to talk about them.
Arizona is a very, very schizophrenic team. And
yes, they are.
For them to look like absolute dog garbage, against Kansas State and then come out and, take it to Utah like that. I mean, you got to give them a shout out because Utah fans thought that even, going in with their, the little baby Wilson that you were going to run the Big 12. Well, now you came back to the pack. But Jay, let's talk Hail Mary.
Look, everybody's asking. Look, this is my take on it. The refs panicked. They called it a touchdown, and they shouldn't have. It should have been incomplete from the beginning, and then they would have had to made it easier to just say it was incomplete. Because here's the problem: there was like 40 dudes out there on the field, and all of them were touching the ball, and about half of them were out of bounds. So if you're touching the ball and you're out of bounds, guess what? The ball's considered out of bounds. That's where the problem lies. They should have never called that a touchdown. The refs panicked. They screwed that one up, period. What you think, Coop?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what you saw. I mean, I guess at the end of the game, you got to. I mean, I'm not a referee, and I've never been a referee, and you receive death threats if you do. I mean, just if you make bad calls. I don't know what I would do right there, but I guess I go with the mean or the average, and most Hail Marys turn up incomplete. I don't know how you could say that was a. I don't know how you call it a catch. I think that you call that an incomplete pass, and you go and you look for the catch. To me, I didn't see a catch. That ball never was possessed by anybody. The ball was bouncing around. It was moving quite a bit, and but at the same time, like, do we care as much if we're not all rooting for Miami to lose? Like, if that was like Virginia Tech versus North Carolina, does anybody care as much? I think that there's just a lot of people wanting to see. We all think that Miami's a fraud, and we're all looking in. So, trying to see if Miami lose. So, I don't know, man. It like I said, didn't look like a catch to me. I don't think I saw anything that I thought like that's definitely a catch.
Right. Yeah. As I looked at it, it was fumbling around with too many people. So to me, it's like, no, that there's something else going on here. That too many people had the ball, and the ball was moving around too many people touching it. That was 100% it was 100% out of bounds. They should have just called it there. All right, let's wrap it up. Coop, put a bow on it. Better get ready to go find me a snack. I mean, do a couple other things to get done. One thing we do got to celebrate though. Wrap it up for the Sooner fans. Sooner fans, guess what? I don't know if y'all noticed this. We had another goal line stand in that game. 4th and 1. Auburn decides to go for it. I look at the Auburn guy. He looks at me. He's like, it's only 1 yard. If you can't get 1 yard, you deserve to lose. And I think that was the moment that they kind of wrote in stone, in blood, that they were going to lose that game. Because I looked at him and I said, hey, man, sometimes you need to take the points. And he's like, no. If you can't get 1 yard, you deserve to lose. I'm like, look, man, people try us all the time. There's a reason why they don't work. What happened? We stopped him. And he looked at me. I was like, hey, man, I tried to tell you. This is what we do. If there's one thing this team takes in pride, is those goal line stands. And when I saw that, I'm just like,
here's what I go with is you saw it at Texas and you see it here. You've seen it 3 or 4 times. When there is a goal line opportunity, it seems like teams want to come in and run some variety of their base offense, and you need new players, new chemistry, and new successes to be successul. I mean, right. Bringing in Sweat, last year, by Texas, this week bringing in the backup quarterback a couple times. Like, I mean, I just, if I were another team, I would stay with what I know. I mean, you look at the Philadelphia Eagles. they run the tush push. They did it today. They got it at the 2-yard line. They run the tush push. They run it again. They get a first down. They get a touchdown. They run what that base concept of what they do in that time. They didn't play cute. They didn't get creative. They just ran it. And teams don't want to do that. And I think that when you have safeties like Bowman and RSJ, and you have Danny Stutzman and Kip Lewis and Kobe McKenzie, you got guys who are looking to shoot a gap and destroy something. And the defensive line now is no longer playing 2 yards behind the line of scrimmage. They're not getting pushed back 2 yards. And so, the defensive line will stalemate or push back at less. And you have free lanes for the safeties and the linebackers. And anytime that you do that, you absolutely have to. I mean, you're not going to trickeration. You just need to run your base and take your lumps that way.
Yeah, you gotta stop doing that. Yeah, because running a quote unquote wildcat direct snap and then thinking the dude was gonna run. He tried to run to the side, and Billy just ran underneath it, got right to the legs, and knocked his butt down. Right? Like, you don't do that. You don't do that. Yeah. That's what we do really, really well. We're really good at the goal line stand. So, all right. Thank y'all for pulling up. Hit that like button if you're new to the channel. Subscribe, rate, review. Give us 5. And with that, Coop's out. He's not going to drink and fall asleep now. He's actually good for the night. We will chop it up with all of you in a couple days. Peace.